Welcome to Module 2 of the ALO Sports and Weight Management Training. The areas that we're going to be covering in this module are, first of all, a balanced diet, changing your relationship with food and drink, looking at our FIT programme, which incorporates our C9 and our F15 beginners, intermediate and advanced, understanding how to work out your active metabolic rate, and very importantly, in this module, you're going to learn how you can personalise your own programme. What is a balanced diet? A balanced diet is where we have the right combination of carbohydrates, proteins and fats, and importantly, it's getting the right percentage of each area. So now let's move over to the Eat Well guide. It's going to look at the different segments that are important to follow a balanced diet. On the screen you can see a copy of the Eat Well guide, and as you can see it is divided into different sections. We're going to have a look at section by section. The first one we're going to look at is our fruits and vegetables. So our fruits and vegetables are actually carbohydrates. These carbohydrates are what we call our sugary carbohydrates, and we need to be eating at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and vegetables a day. In fact, now the guidelines are actually to increase it to 10 portions, but it's important to increase your vegetables, not your fruit, because too much fruit is actually going to give you too much sugar. Remember that fruit juice and smoothies should be limited to no more than a combined total of 150 ml a day. And fruits and vegetables are a good source of our vitamins, minerals and fibre. The next section is our starchy carbohydrates, and these are our bread, rice, pasta and potatoes. Interesting, a lot of people think they need to avoid eating starchy carbohydrates, but in fact our starchy food should make up over 1/3 of what we put on our plate. Choose the higher fibre whole grain varieties such as whole wheat pasta, brown rice, or simply leave your skin on your potatoes. There are also higher fibre versions of white bread and pasta that you can choose as well. Starchy foods are a good source of the energy that our body runs on, which we remember is glucose, and is the main source of a range of nutrients in our diet. The next area is dairy and alternatives. So choose from a variety of milk, cheese, yoghurt, as well as fromage frais, and also these are an important source of calcium. Try to choose your lower fat and lower sugar varieties, and it's important not to go for the diet products, because often if they actually say on them they are low in fat, they could be high in sugar, and if they are low in sugar, they could be high in fat. Proteins. It's interesting again, a lot of people are actually eating too much protein. But if we're looking at foods that are a good source of protein, as well as getting vitamins and minerals, we can choose from a whole variety, such as pulses, which are beans, peas and lentils, are a good alternative to having meat because they're lower in fat and higher in fibre. You can also choose your lean cuts of meat and mince and eat less red and processed meat like bacon, ham and sausages, and aim for at least 2 portions of fish every week, and these oily fish should be such as your salmon or mackerel. And then unsaturated fats. It's important that we put fats into our body because so much of our body actually relies on fats, but we need to have the healthier fats, such as the unsaturated ones, which come from our vegetable, rapeseed and olive oils. And remember, all types of fat are high in energy, so they should be eaten sparingly, but making sure that we're not cutting it out completely. Other fats, often what we call our hidden fats, are coming in our sugary foods, such as chocolate and cakes, biscuits, and as well as our sugary soft drinks. We also find fats in butter, ghee, and ice cream. They are not needed in our diet, and we need to look at alternatives of our unsaturated fats. Added sugars such as table sugar, honey and syrups shouldn't make up more than 5% of your energy that you get from your food and drink every day. And that's about 30 grams a day for anyone aged 11 and older. Very worryingly, British people eat 700 grams of sugar a week. That's an average of 140 teaspoons per person. Water. Did you know that water is a key nutrient in your body? Your body can survive for days without food, even though we don't think we can, but we need water daily. So choose water, whether it's in your lower sugar or sugar-free drinks, but also water comes in your tea and coffee, they all count. Fruit juice and smoothies also count towards your fluid consumption, but remember they do contain sugars that may damage your teeth. This is an essential nutrient which is often overlooked, and our body is actually made up of 50 to 70% water. When we were born, we were actually 90% water. Water contributes to the maintenance of a normal physical and cognitive function. So your cognitive function is your memory, your reasoning, and your knowledge, as well as the maintenance of the normal regulation of your body's temperature. You need to aim to drink at least 2 litres a day. What's also important to understand is that if you are changing your diet, you may notice that you become a little constipated. This can be down to the fact that you are reducing down too much carbohydrates, because for every molecule of carbohydrate, it holds on to 3 molecules of water. So be aware of the hidden water in foods, because water content can vary from 10 to 98% water. Another side fact is that aloe actually is 98 to 99% water. So it's an important nutrient, and that is why you can enjoy the benefits of drinking lots of aloe every day. Aim for at least 1 ml of water for every calorie burnt. So for example, if you are taking in 2,500 calories, you need to have at least 2.5 litres of water. But what is a good guideline is to have your 2.5 litres and then probably add at least another half a litre on top of that. When we're changing our diet, there are some worrying factors that people often ask questions over. For example, can I still enjoy my tea and coffee? Can I still enjoy having a little bit of chocolate? Let's just have a look back at the Eat Well guide, and you can see on this particular screen to the top right hand side it talks about drinking water, and tea and coffee is absolutely fine. I've already mentioned that, but it is actually on the Eat Well guide. So please remember, there is nothing wrong with drinking tea and coffee when you are following the C9 or the F15. And then down at the far left hand side, you can see in that corner some chocolate and some ice cream. You know what? Life would be very boring if we didn't have those little treats. So it's all about reducing these things down, not having to cut them out completely. And that is where we start to enjoy changing our eating habits alongside our exercise habits. And it's about being able to make these changes for long-term gain, not for short-term effects. Antioxidants, they're a really important component for your body. Let's understand a little bit more about where we can get antioxidants from naturally, and also how they support your body to be healthy. Oxidation occurs naturally in the human body, and it can be accelerated and overlooked. And oxidation can happen in lots of different forms around our environment. For example, when we're out in the sunlight, when we are inside, when we have air conditioning or even heating, what we choose to eat and drink, such as processed foods, cigarette smoke, too much alcohol, can all have an effect on our body. These oxygen molecules can snatch hydrogen ions from a nearby molecule, and this can in turn cause a chain reaction. In fact, it's easier to think about your body starting to rust from the inside out. Free radicals can lead to tissue damage, but antioxidants can actually help to block the process. We have antioxidants that naturally occur in our body, and these are called endogenous antioxidants. Depending on how we choose to live our life, we need to put more antioxidants into our body, and we get these from our diet. These are called exogenous antioxidants. Let's have a look then at some of the areas that we can get these exogenous antioxidants. For example, we have vitamin A, C and E. Quite easy to remember because think of the word ACE, as well as having minerals such as selenium, zinc, manganese and copper. Did you know that when you push your body too much, this can also cause oxidative stress within your body? Nature has made it really easy for us to identify which foods are rich sources of antioxidants. In fact, I like to say it's colour-coded. Look for a rainbow of colours. For example, fruits and vegetables which are blue and purple, or even dark reds, oranges and yellows. Greens, as well as having your nuts and seeds. Here's a variety on the slide, such as broccoli, carrots, peppers, apricots, nuts and seeds, as well as whole grains, as well as choosing your vegetable oils. Your ORAC score, which is your oxygen radical absorbent capacity, actually sounds quite a mouthful. But how can we actually measure how many antioxidants that we do get from our food? And this is quite an interesting way to do it. And let's just break it down to see what is an ORAC score. You can see on the slide there is a lovely glass of red wine. In fact, having a glass of red wine every day contains a high level of ORACs. Scientists of the National Institute of Health and Aging have shown that in the USA, 5,000 ORACs are kind of identical to what we say in the UK of your average 5 a day of fruits and vegetables. So we need to have around about 3,500 ORACs every day. And if you look at this glass of wine accounts for 2,000 ORACs a day. You could have an apple or an orange, half a teaspoon of turmeric. They are also 2,000 ORACs a day. But why not have alongside your glass of wine 4 pieces of dark chocolate, because they also have 2,000 ORACs. So a glass of red wine and 4 squares of dark chocolate are 4,000 ORACs a day. What a nice way to spend your evening. We've gone through our supplements, and one of the most important things about our weight management programs, which we're going to look at, is to understand that it's not just about taking supplements. We need to make changes in our diet and our exercise. One of the things I want to address now is having a look at your relationship with food and drink. And I know often people eat foods because they are a little bit like a comfort blanket, and these can be some of the hardest things to break. One of the things that is important to understand that maybe these have been habits that we have formed from childhood. It could be foods that we ate with our parents. It could be for cultural reasons. And I'm sure you're aware that even if you want to go out with friends and family for a meal and you're saying, I'm not having a dessert, often your friends and family will say, oh, go on. Why not? Because they feel more comfortable eating dessert if you are too. So we can be influenced by our social environment as well. What I want to do is actually focus on habit, because that is one of the biggest things that we need to start to change, making some changes in the habits of what we're eating and drinking on a day-to-day basis. If you look at this slide, this is actually showing how tiny habits can start to build up to an accumulation of excess body fat. So obesity occurs when the energy intake, so energy is what our body runs on, and as I've already said, our body prefers to run on glucose, but it can also run on fats and it can also run on proteins. If the consumption of our food and drink is greater than the energy expenditure through the body's metabolism and physical activity over a prolonged period of time, we can start to gain weight. Here is a great quote. Anything that requires the acquisition of new skills or behaviours or the termination of existing or old behaviours involves change. Many people find change difficult, particularly if it means moving towards a new behavioural pattern. Usually, such change requires practice, and someone is most likely to succeed if they are given support. And that's what we're all about. We are now combining making the changes in our eating and drinking habits, looking at our exercise habits, and incorporating alongside that these supplements from Forever, but very importantly, the program that the company has put together. Our weight management program is the FIT program, which stands for Foundation, Inspiration and Transformation. And there's different components, including our C9 and our F15. The C9 is where it starts, and it's really identifying what people are looking for. What is the change? So let's have a look at the options. Some people are looking for a short-term change. It could be they've returned from holiday or a period of overindulgence, for example, Christmas or the summer holidays, and they just want to give their body a little bit of a kickstart to get back on track. Our digestive system could do with a rest, and maybe it's had an overload of stimulants and processed foods. People may be looking for a lifestyle change. It could be addressing bad eating and exercise habits, and it could also be that for long-term effects, people are looking for slimmer, healthier and more energized lifestyles. What about enhancement or an already established eating and exercise regime, or indeed pre and post exercise support from supplements? It's our job then to sit down with our customers and to see what they are looking for and how the different proportions from the weight management program can help them on their journey to success. Where to start? It starts with the C9. This is 9 days to give your body time out, to reset, or to start the change of changing those food and drink habits. We can move on then to F15 beginners, which you have beginners 1 and 2. This is where you're going to start to make some changes to your exercise, and this is where probably people haven't been exercising for a while and looking for a gentle start to the program. Then we have the F15 intermediate. If you're somebody that is already doing moderate exercise, and if you look at that, it could be, for example, on average 60 minutes 2 to 3 times a week, or you might be someone that is exercising on average 30 minutes every day. You can go directly to the intermediate if you want to and bypass the beginners. And then finally, the F15 advanced. This particular program is for somebody who is already doing a high amount of exercise, at least 60 minutes a day and probably 5 to 7 times a week. And this is where you may be looking at changing some of the exercise regimes that you're using. So let's have a look at what we get in the C9 box, where it all starts. You can personalise your box. You can choose, you can mix and match. So you have a choice of, do you want to have the plain gel with the vanilla shake? Obviously you can choose to have the berry nectar, which is your fruitier option, or if you have a sweet tooth, why not choose the aloe and peaches? Or if you have a really sweet tooth, then you have the option of the Forever Light Ultra chocolate. So it's entirely up to you. If you're somebody that is already drinking the Forever Freedom and you want to then continue to have the Forever Freedom alongside the C9 or the F15, that is absolutely fine. If you are drinking, for example, 120 mils of the Forever Freedom every day or more, then continue to have that amount and then top up the rest of the program with your chosen drink, whether it's the plain gel, the berry nectar or the peaches. In the little box that you get in your C9, you're going to have your other supplements, which incorporate, first of all, a blister pack of the exact amount of Garcinia and Therm that you need every day, and also your little stick of your Forever Fibre. So everything that you need to be getting going alongside your shake and also your drinking gel. To make life easier, you also have within your box Your shaker, which you can put your shake in, and also you have your fluid that you can put at the top, and then when you're ready you can literally mix the two together. And if you want to, you can also measure yourself. That is your choice. So now let's take a look at our F15. You're going to get your F15 little box that has exactly the right amount of supplements you need for 15 days. You have a choice again of your shake, chocolate one maybe. You have a choice of also your drinking gels. So here's another idea. You can have your berry nectar and your chocolate shake. In the boxes, you're also going to have a booklet to follow. You have your C9 and you have your F15. What you can understand is that they have recipes in the F15, whether it's the beginners, intermediate, advanced, and also the C9, and you can mix and match those particular recipes. And what you're going to learn in this module is how you can personalize your program, where basically the program is going to fit into your world, not your world is going to fit into the program, because we all lead different lives. In this section, we're going to have a look at your metabolic rate, and everybody has their own personal metabolic rate. That's how much energy your body needs depending on your age, your weight, your height, and also your gender. The best way to think about it is maybe the size of a house. I'm sure you would agree that if you have a 4-bedroom detached house, that you probably need more heating in that house than maybe a 1-bedroom apartment. So depending on the size of the property will depend on how much energy will be consumed. Depending on the size of your body will also depend on how much energy you consume too. So by personalizing the program, you can get even better results than following the average that's in the booklet. What is your metabolic rate? As you can see on the slide here, your metabolic rate, we have two different metabolic rates. Your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, refers to the energy required to maintain all the chemical processes that are constantly taking place within the body. As I said, this is all down to your age, your weight, your height, and also your gender. Your AMR, your active metabolic rate, refers to the amount of calories you burn in a day, and this can vary depending on how active you are. It's a little bit like a car. If you decide that you are going to drive to work and back, that's 20 minutes, compared to maybe driving from Cornwall up to Glasgow, I'm sure you are aware you're going to have to put more fuel in your car to complete that journey rather than the 20 minutes backwards and forwards to work. You can work out your BMR and AMR from a website that we have, which is foreverfituk.co.uk, or you can go to the booklet. In fact, it's on page 10, and it can take you through how to work out your basal metabolic rate and your active metabolic rate. But let's have a look at how we can do this now. Here's the website, foreverfituk.co.uk. And what you need to do is, when you see this front page, you want to go up to the right hand side where it says calculator. So you open that up. And then this page is going to come to calculate your BMI, which is your body mass index. You don't want your BMI, you actually want to go to this green one here, which is your BMR and AMR. So you click on there. And this is going to be able to work out your basal metabolic rate. So all you need to do is put in your weight, your height, your age, your gender, and that is going to work out your BMR. Now, to be able to work out your weight and your height, they need to be in kilos and centimetres. So go to the resource pack where you have your conversion charts if it helps you. Your BMR will actually come up at the bottom here, and then if we scroll to the other side where it shows your AMR, your active metabolic rate, the best thing to do is to work out all four of these: extra light, light, moderate and heavy, because obviously your energy or your exercise can change from day to day. So this is a great way to be able to work out your own BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, and your AMR, your active metabolic rate. And as we go through the next parts of the module, you'll see how we can personalise your programme. We've had a look at what your extra light, moderate and heavy activities could be, and if you're not sure, if we look at the slide now, we can see a bit of an idea of what those would come into. Generally speaking, if you're somebody who you might say potters around, your activity level would be light, and if you are doing 30 to 60 minutes of exercise 3 to 4 times a week, it would be moderate, and heavy is where you are doing at least 60 minutes or greater 5 to 7 days a week. So when you're actually looking at your activity level, as I said, it's important to work them all out because you can change your activity from day to day. So now you've worked out your BMR and AMR, what are we going to do with those calculations? Obviously, it's your decision what you want to achieve. What are your goals? Do you want to lose weight, maintain weight, or indeed increase your weight? And most people that want to increase their weight, it's increasing their muscle mass. Let's have a look at the basic steps to help you reach your goal. If you're someone who is looking to maintain your weight, you need to consume the amount of calories indicated by your AMR, your active metabolic rate. If your goal is to lose weight, you need to eat 500 calories less than your AMR. But importantly, you don't want to eat too lower amount of calories because your body can go into what we call starvation mode. Therefore, the calculation is best to follow 300 calories above your BMR. So just think about that for a moment. 500 below your AMR and 300 above your BMR. Never stay near or below your BMR for more than 9 days, as this will cause your metabolism to slow down and your body will go into starvation mode, where your body is going to hold on to fat rather than lean muscle. And if your goal is to gain weight, most people, as I said, want to build lean muscle, you need to eat about 350 protein calories above your AMR, your active metabolic rate calculation. Here's an interesting thought for you. Did you know there are 2,500 calories in a pound of muscle and 3,500 calories in a pound of fat? If you want to lose 1 pound of fat per week, you will need to make sure that you have consumed 3,500 fewer calories, on average 500 calories per day, less than what has been expended in the week. To gain 1 pound of muscle per week, you will need to make sure that you have consumed 2,500 calories, an average of 350 calories per day, more than what has been expended in the week. Exercise contributes to gaining muscle mass and burning that stored fat. To help you understand a little bit more easier, we're going to introduce you now to some fictitious customers. So let's meet Sally. She's 27 years old and she's a nurse. Her height is 172 centimetres, her weight is 59 kilos, and her BMR, that's how many calories she needs in a day just to keep her body ticking over, is 1,428. Now she's quite active, so we're going to work her calories as though her exercise level is moderate, and that means she needs 2,285 calories a day. Abby is 35 years old and she's a stay-at-home mum. 157 centimetres in height, weight is 66 kilos. Her BMR is a little bit similar to Sally's, but her AMR, she doesn't really do any exercise. She potters around, and her calories that she needs, the amount of fuel that she needs for her exercise, is 1,829 a day. Raj, electrical engineer, he's 29 years of age, 185 centimetres, 86 kilos. His BMR is 1972, but his exercise is heavy. He's really into doing sports. In fact, he does sport most evenings when he can, and at weekends he loves to be either cycling, playing rugby, or getting out and about and even doing rock climbing. So he does a lot of activity, and his calories, the amount of fuel he needs, is 4,141. And then finally, Chris. Chris is 51 years of age and he's a surveyor. 177 centimetres in height, 98 kilos, very similar BMR to Raj, but his activity level is light, and the calories that he requires every day, if he's following that light exercise, is 3,115. Now what we're going to do, we're going to follow Chris to see how we can personalise his programme. Once again, at this section, you would go to the resource pack to be able to download your PDF to personalise your own programme. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Chris, remember he's our fictitious customer, what he wants to achieve. So it's important to ask your customer what are their goals and not always to think that people want to, for example, lose weight. We're going to decide which programme it's best to start with. So if Chris is starting with the C9, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask which particular eating habits or drinking habits that he wants to reduce down. Please remember, when you're following the C9, it doesn't say that you have to cut everything out. It literally says that you are to reduce down your stimulants. So in Chris's situation, he has said to me that he enjoys eating lots of crisps at night, and also he drinks quite a lot of red wine. So the two areas that he wants to reduce down is his red wine and eating too many crisps at night time. So what we're going to do, we're going to work out his BMR. Now please remember, this is where we're personalising the programme and not following the booklet exactly as it is, because the booklet is written for the average person and it wasn't written for Chris. So by following his BMR, as we can see from the screen, it's 1,947 calories. If he was following the C9 as in the booklet that was written for the average person, he would be following approximately 1,200 calories plus free foods. So in theory, he can be increasing what he's going to be eating by around about maybe 700 calories, which is quite nice. So he's now thinking, I can do this, because what we're doing as well is looking at reducing down the stimulants and not cutting them out. What you will also do is follow the 1,947 calories, give or take, including the extra foods that he's going to be having and also the free foods. So follow 9 days with the BMR calorie amount and drink, and you can drink 120 mils of aloe every day. If you decide you want to drink more at the beginning, that is your choice. But remember, this is where you can simply personalise the programme to suit your own results. So here's Chris, and you can see at 1,947 calories that literally this is where we have taken the programme and we have now put it into Chris's world. He's getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and he's having 120 mils of his drinking gel, and he's choosing to have his shake in the morning with his gel, and he's popping his Forever Fibre into that. So that is accounting for 200 calories. Please remember, when you are following the program on a weight management program, especially with the shakes need to be a minimum of 200 calories. We have lots of recipes that you can follow. So if you want to have more than 200 calories in your shake, that's absolutely fine, but don't go below 200 calories. Chris loves to have a little bit of a sugary snack around about 10:30 when he gets to work. So he's going to have his Garcinia about 10 o'clock, and then he's going to have his therm when he's going to have a little snack from his list of feel-good foods. Remember, we looked at things like bananas and walnuts and kiwi fruits and pineapple. There's a whole range. So he's going to swap having his sugary snack for something else that is going to make him feel good without having the refined sugar. So he's got 100 calories there. At 12:30, he normally will have a business lunch. And so he's going to continue to have his business lunch. This is where he does a lot of his business and socializing. So it's important for him to be able to continue to do that. So we're allowing 800 calories there. In the afternoon, at around about 3 o'clock, he's going to have his Garcinia, and then a little bit later on, about 3:30, 30 minutes later, his therm and his feel-good foods at 200 calories. And then in the evening, he's going to have his Forever Light Ultra from a recipe selection, or he may decide that he would prefer to have some physical food, so he may take some food from his free foods list and actually have a plain shake. And this is where it gets really interesting, that he is going to start to reduce down his crisp intake. And around about 8:30, he's going to have a Garcinia again, because he normally gets the crisp munches about 9 o'clock. And I've asked Chris, if he wasn't to have any crisps, what would he prefer to have as a replacement? And he said he quite likes banana and yogurt. So on the first day, day 1 of the C9, he's actually going to have a packet of crisps. Then on day 2, he's going to have banana and yogurt. Day 3, packet of crisps, etc., etc. So can you see that what he's doing within 9 days of being in the program, he has halved the amount of crisps that he's eating. He's reduced down his wine intake to 1 glass a day rather than a little bit more. And he feels fantastic because he's then ready to move on to the next part of the program, which would be the F15. Now Chris has completed his 9 days on the C9, which in theory you could call it a change 9, because he has made some changes in those 9 days and he's really, really excited and feels in control to go to the next part of the process. And Chris has, let's just say, kind of let go of his exercise regime. So he's going to start on the F15 beginners, but he's actually going to start on beginners 2. The reason for that, I have found that beginners 1 is probably a little bit easy for guys to start on. And always remember that the products that you get in all of the FIT programs, the F15 beginners right through to advanced, the products in the box are exactly the same. The only difference between them is the level of exercise. So if someone starts on beginners 1 and they're finding it a little bit easy, they can go up to beginners 2. Or if they're on intermediate 1 and they're finding it a little bit hard with the exercise, then they can just pop down to beginners 2. If you follow the website that we've already looked at, which is the foreverfituk.co.uk, have a look around on that particular website, because you can view some of the videos of exercise and your customer can actually choose their own program with ease, because they can follow the program that is pushing themselves a little bit more than they used to. So he's going to be following F15 beginners 2. Now this is where you can see how, by personalising the program, he needs more calories than is actually said in the booklet. Because remember, the booklet wasn't written for Chris, it was written for the average person. If you are following the beginners 1, beginners 2, intermediate 1 or 2, when you're working out your AMR, you need to be following your exercise as though you're doing moderate. If you are following the advanced 1 or 2, then your exercise level would be heavy. Looking at the slide, you can see that Chris hasn't really been doing very much exercise, and his exercise level has been light. So that 3,115 is actually calculated on his light exercise level. So we would have to recalculate it and work it out as moderate. And you can see there that we have now increased the amount. And what we need to do is we need to reduce 500 calories off that, and that is the amount that he will follow. So please remember, you need to calculate 500 calories less than your AMR to lose weight. So in Chris's situation, his calorie amount to follow is approximately 2,810. If you look at the beginners 2, for men, he needs to be eating around about 800 calories more than the booklet suggests. And remember again that the booklet was written for the average person. It wasn't written for Chris. Following beginners 2, and this particular slide is showing the calorie intake for Chris is based on 2,750 calories. Let's have a look. Remember, we're seeing how this can fit into his world, and he is going to have his shake in the morning with his aloe vera drinking gel, and also put his Forever Fibre in the shake. But he's going to now increase his calorie intake from having a shake from the recipes, or sometimes he prefers, when he's got time, to have a little bit of breakfast, even enjoy grilled bacon in a wholemeal roll with a little bit of fresh tomato. 10 o'clock, he's going to have his Garcinia 30 minutes before he has his healthy snack. If you look at the recipes that you get in the C9 and the F15, there's plenty of snacks that you can follow. So he's going to have around about 300 calories there. He's going to have his business lunch as he has before, and in the afternoon, Garcinia and the Therm before he has his healthy snack, 300 calories. He will then, when he finishes work, he will then do his exercise. He chooses what he wants to do. Sometimes he follows the exercises that are in the booklet, the videos he can follow there. Sometimes he prefers to go for a bike ride or a swim, but he varies it, but he's working on doing around about 30 minutes of exercise every day, or maybe 60 minutes every other day. It just depends from week to week what he's doing with his life. He's now actually adding a glass of wine to his evening meal, which is 700 calories, and now he is expanding out what he's eating in the evening. So he has a packet of crisps sometimes. He's tried other snacks, and when you think how he's changed from having a packet of crisps every single day to having a packet of crisps maybe once a week and enjoying other healthy snacks, this is really seeing how he's on the road to success with changing his eating habits, still enjoying what he's eating, but also enjoying the changes and knowing this is something that he can continue to do forever. I hope that's helped you to see how you can personalise your own programme. And please remember, it's all about enjoying the process of change, enjoying the journey of taking your supplements alongside new foods, adding your thermogenic herbs and spices into your recipes, mix and match, and also remember to eat foods that are in season, because when you're eating foods that are in season, then they are packed full of nutrients. They become our nutrient-dense foods. You have now completed the Aloe Sports and Weight Management online module training. It's time for you to test your knowledge and recap what you have learnt. So to complete the Module 2 quiz, go to the link on the page.